Alright, so let's review the first week of the challenge and why it didn't work out, for me this week. So we can see that the first trade was JPP JPY. We had sell on this one. Now my account is $63 we have here, and we're gonna go on the trading view and we're gonna analyze again, the trade. So on the daily, on the JBP JPY, we have the pair here. We had, between the last high we had the bearish divergence, then we created lower lows, on the chart, and lower lows on the histogram and MACD. Then I was assuming, that okay, if we change the trend, now every retrace, is a good point, to look for the sells. Then if you're gonna go on 1 hour chart, so 1 hour chart, we can see here, when I took the sell, that on the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement that we have here, we can see, a lot of candles, that was rejecting around this zone. But when I enter, in the trade, the price, just went up and went, more up, and created on the daily even higher highs. But currently, the yen is really one of the weakest currency that we have. The yen, they have quite a lot of fiscal risks and even debt concerns, because even they have, quite a lot of high yields, and the public debt is so massive, so massive. Even the BOG, the Bank of Japan, still buys, bonds to suppress the long-term yields, keeping them artificially low anyway. So the fiscal risk premium appears in the currency instead, like pressuring yen lower. Even they have, like pre-election political uncertainty. They gonna have tomorrow Sunday, they were gonna have, some election. The prime minister plans for aggressive fiscal stimulus, even like tax cuts, like spending the 8% sales tax, higher spending, and raise deficit with the inflation worries. And the inflation really worries, there. And now, my thing is that they cannot raise the interest rate anymore, because, the yields are so high. And this is the thing, the fundamental analysis, because, my technical analysis was quite good for me. I don't think I did a mistake, on this one. Only, maybe I rushed a little too much, with the sale that I took from there, but was looking really, really good for me, because on a shorter time frame we had even even divergence, on the 30 minutes and 15 minutes. So even the technical analysis, was quite good, but the fundamental with the economics, that didn't look, for those things, on that time. Okay, if we're gonna go further, if we're gonna go, with the second trade that we took, it was the sell on the JBP CAD. So JBP CAD, we took the sell here, we took the two sells we took around this zone, and then, we just closed, manually those trades. So if we're gonna go, a little in the back, so these are the trades. So we took, the first sell we took from here, even it was, quite aggressive, because I took it, I couldn't wait, a little more. And the second trade, we took it from here, and I closed them manually before, the stop loss, to be hit, and we lost on this one. So if you're gonna go again on the trading view, just in case, to analyze this one. So we're gonna have, this one JBP CAD here. So JBP CAD, what do we had, here on JBP CAD? If we're gonna go on the daily, I will just, like clear, a little the chart. If we're gonna go on the daily, we can see here, that we have, like quite a lot of supply, around this zone, on the daily, and we moved, aggressively to the downside, because the trend, changed here on the daily. So on the daily, we've been in downtrend, because we made lower lows here on the daily. And then, I said, like, okay, so every rally, to the upside is a good sign, that we're gonna go for sell. If we're gonna put the drawing back again, so back again, we can see, on the daily, that we had, like some slowdown on the histogram here. Okay, so on the 4 hour chart, if you're gonna go on the 4 hour chart, we can see here clearly, that we've been in this zone, of supply here, supply around this zone, supply around this zone. And I said, okay, if we're gonna hold, and we will not close above this one, above this zone, it's good to look for sales. So I took for sales. I was in a rush, with the sales. So my mistake, is that, I needed, to wait a little more. but I went with the sell because I saw here, that okay, so we are here, on the bearish divergence, and we can, like look for the sells, from around this zone. But the price, what did he created one more higher high, fake high, created one more divergence. We can see here that we have bearish divergence because on the chart, created higher high, but on the indicator create lower lows. And with that breakout, false breakout to the upside, what did the price? So the price, from that zone, just moved, lower and lower. And if we entered, from this zone, the target, it was around this zone here, and we had around 220 points or pips, until that zone. So this one failed. I wanted, to take the sell. Then I wanted to take the sell from here, but the price didn't reach, my I wanted to see a correction, a little more higher. Even if we rejected from 8 EMA here, I wanted to see a correction a little more higher and then to look for the sells. And this one failed. So the thing is that now, still we are in a bearish pressure. We didn't had, any divergence, bullish divergence on 1 hour. And now possible that we gonna have, like after this correction, so this correction can go until here, and then possible from that zone, to look for again from the sell. And again, let's take and the other sell that we had yesterday on JBP CAD. So JBP CAD, we had the sell from around this zone before the news. So we had the employment news, on the Canadian dollar, and the news, appeared that the employment change, was really really bad, for the Canadian dollar. But fortunately for them, it was that the unemployment rate, just like drop lower, so it was good for them from 6.8 to 6.5, and this is really good news, for them. But unfortunately, because the employment change, supposed to be like 8,000 jobs created, this one, it was on minus, and they had like minus 25,000 jobs, like really bad, for them. So that's why for me, if I'm going back, on this one, we can see here we took yesterday the sell on JBP CAD, and I closed manually the trade. If we're gonna go, a little low, where do we go? Okay, I took manually the trade, from around this zone, looking, to go and make lower lows on 1 hour, just like to make further lows, on 1 hour. But when I saw, the news that it was, like really quite bad, for the dollar Canadian, I was thinking that okay, so this trade, could really fail, the pound, can rebound and just, like take my stop loss that I had it a little above around this zone. So that's why, I said like okay, so quite riskier now with the news, and I will just close, the trade automatically. So on this one, I just closed it at $7. Then the last one that we have here, it was on buy on Euro USD that we have here. So this one, it was a loss. If we're gonna go, on Euro USD, so Euro USD, if I'm going on the shorter term, we are going to see why we failed on this one. So we can see, here that we took the sell. After we took the sell, we went just, to the stop loss, and from that zone, then went higher. If we are going to go on the trading view just to analyze this one and why I did like a mistake on this one. So when I took this trade, from around this zone, I said okay, on the 1 hour, we had already like divergence here. We created higher highs, and on the histogram and on the chart, and I said like okay, so every retrace now, is a good point, to go and look for the buys. But what the price did, and again, I was quite really, I would say, I didn't have any more patience, to take, this buy. I just took it, from the buy from here. Even in my mind, I was thinking that okay, but the price, is really possible, to make one more fake low to the downside, and after that, to try, to go to the upside, and did exactly, how I was telling you now, and create one more divergence, bullish divergence on the histogram and on the MACD, and from this zone it just went, to the upside. If my if I will take, you know, the buy from here, then I was like really safe, and I will have at least 1 to 2 risk reward, and I was in profit. So my mistake here, you know, is that I didn't had any more patience, you know, with this trade. I didn't wait for one more low that I was thinking that it can go even lower, you know, to create one more false breakout, and after this, you know, to go higher. If you're gonna go on the daily chart, what do we have here? We can see clearly, you know, that we are now from the low to the high. I put just a Fibonacci retracement. We are on the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement. That's the golden ratio. And from this zone, you know, expecting, you know, to see a push to the upside, even if we're gonna go more up, possible, you know, to go more down, and after that, you know, to continue the uptrend. But here the mistake, like I said, you know, I was in a rush. I didn't have any more patience. And if I put, you know, even this trend line that I put it here on the highs, yeah, I can see here still, you know, around this zone, you know, is gonna be both of them. So I have here, you know, like quite a lot of buyers around this zone. I have the Fibonacci retracement, and plus I have this trend line, and the price just moved, you know, accordingly to my plan. Just is gonna go higher. So this happened, but I lost this trade, and I hope that next week, you know, I'm gonna have more patience. But sometimes, you know, even if you are patient with the trends, you can lose, you know, quite a lot of trends, because if you're gonna look on a chart, you know, you're gonna see like, okay, maybe it's gonna make one more false breakout, or, you know, I'm gonna wait for again for a retest of the price. And sometimes, you know, the price, it will just go straight away, you know, it will not wait for you, you know, to have another retest of the price or something like that. So even you are more aggressive, so you can trade like aggressive style, or even, you know, you can trade quite, you know, to be more, how to say, more patient, you know, and more calm, you know, with the trades, you know, just wait for them. With more aggressive style, you know, you're gonna enter in more trades, but you can even lose, you know, some trades. If you are, you know, not so aggressive, and you want, you know, to have again, you know, a retest, you know, of the prices, or, you know, like to wait for another false breakout, sometimes, you know, you're gonna lose and a lot of trades, you know, like that, because many times the price is not gonna go how you want it to go. So you need to choose, you know, like to be more aggressive, or to be, you know, like not so aggressive, you know, with the trades that you're gonna take. Okay, so this is my review for this week of the challenge. It was quite a bad week for me, you know, to say, you know, with this challenge, but still, we know we have still, you know, some money left. We have $60, so we lost, you know, in total like $37. But for next week, you know, I'm gonna do the analyze again, and I'm gonna see, you know, what do we are going to have for the next week. And I hope that, you know, at least, you know, to have my money back at least $100, and maybe we can even, you know, grow higher, you know, for the next week.